own my space. I own my decisions. I own the fact that I was in complete denial and saw things right in front of me, but just like I was protecting myself, I was protecting my kids. I had this family, right? I didn't want to be a failure. To me, losing my marriage was failing.
We often hear the phrase, "Not everything that glitters is gold," and that couldn't be more true when it comes to Shaunie O'Neal's latest heartbreak. What once seemed like a dream romance has turned into a cautionary tale, and thanks to Shaunie, we all got a front row seat to watch it unfold. At the beginning, their love story looked like something straight out of a movie. Shaunie had finally found what she believed was real love with the charming pastor Keion Henderson. Keion seemed to be everything she needed: confident, faith-driven, and supportive of her strong, independent spirit. Together, they looked unstoppable, a true power couple who seemed to have it all. Their relationship was filled with shared goals, endless affection, and public displays of devotion that many admired. But as always, social media only tells part of the story. Behind those beautiful Instagram photos and sweet captions, there were problems that no filter could hide.
People say a million times. They don't literally mean a million times, just throwing that out there. But you did call me a few.
Whispers about trouble between them started long before the official divorce papers were filed. And when the split finally came, it wasn't quiet. It sent shockwaves through their fans and raised some serious questions. Shaunie filing for divorce after just 2 years of marriage wasn't just sad, it made people wonder, was it really just a case of growing apart? Or was there something much bigger going on that pushed her to walk away from the man she once proudly called her soulmate? In the early days, their relationship felt like a fairy tale. They showed off their love with luxurious vacations, romantic getaways, and sweet anniversary tributes. Their wedding was absolutely breathtaking set against the stunning backdrop of Anguilla, complete with celebrity guests and a ceremony that looked straight out of a magazine. Keion often praised Shaunie in his sermons and interviews, calling her a blessing and a partner in faith. In return, Shaunie appeared to be fully devoted to him, standing by his side proudly. To the outside world, they were the perfect match, but behind the scenes, cracks were already beginning to form. Even though Shaunie supported Keion's church and mission, insiders noticed she was hesitant about fully embracing the life of a pastor's wife. After all, Shaunie had spent years building her own successful brand in television and business. She wasn't someone who needed to ride anyone's coattails. She had carved out her own lane long before Keion entered the picture. The question became, was she really willing to give all that up to step into a life centered completely around his ministry? At first, the warning signs were small and easy to overlook. Minor details, things that seemed harmless by themselves, began stacking up. If you looked closely, you could see a change in their connection. One major shift was how often Shaunie was seen at Keion's church events. In the beginning, she was front and center, proudly supporting him. But slowly, she started pulling back. Fans noticed that she wasn't attending as many services or special events. She stopped reposting his sermons on her social media, something she used to do regularly. Instead, her posts became more focused on her own projects, her kids, and her business moves.
I think it was part of me not wanting to be hurt again, not go through a relationship that might not work, and just being that person that did come out of a marriage and divorced and it wasn't pretty. I was like, I never want to even put myself in a situation where that could possibly happen again. So I will say in my dating experience that I wasn't ever in a relationship that I looked to be a marriage, because in my mind, I was never getting married again. So I probably sabotaged myself, as far as who I was picking and the time and energy I was giving, because I already knew, like, I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to be with you like that. So maybe I had boundaries already up.
Some thought maybe it was just Shaunie being busy, but others believed there was a deeper reason. And then came the most noticeable change: their online presence. Once known for their sweet pictures and affectionate captions, their posts about each other became rare. Their once vibrant social media love story started to fade into the background. Shaunie's Instagram feed, once filled with couples' photos, shifted heavily toward her personal wins and family life. And if that wasn't enough, even bigger red flags started waving when money got involved. In August 2024, Keion stirred up major controversy when he announced a fundraising goal that had many people scratching their heads. He asked each member of his congregation to donate $2,100, all part of an ambitious plan to raise $4 million. While fundraisers aren't unusual for churches, this request felt different. It wasn't a small ask. It was a huge financial push that left many longtime churchgoers feeling uneasy.
It took a long time to get there. Don't get me wrong. It was not an easy journey. But once we got there, and I think we felt comfortable being honest with each other and just sharing what was going on in our lives and our personal lives to a certain extent, because I think, a lot of it is it's none of our business. It's none of my business what he does. Same with him. And I think we both respect that. But if we get in relationships that we're going to go to that next level, we definitely will let each other know and support it in the best way we can.
Some church members defended Keion, saying the funds were meant for church improvements and community projects. But others were suspicious. Questions about transparency started swirling. If the church was already pulling in millions, why the desperate need for more money? One longtime member spoke out, saying, "I've been giving faithfully for years, but now they're asking for more than some people even make in a month. It just doesn't feel right." And Shaunie? She wasn't oblivious to the growing concerns. She saw what was happening. She had worked hard for her reputation and wasn't about to let questionable financial dealings tarnish her name. Insiders say that around this time, Shaunie's slow drift away from Keion's world became much more obvious. But as it turned out, the fundraising scandal was just the beginning. Around the same time, an old sermon from Keion resurfaced and caused even more backlash. In it, he claimed that blessings didn't come from helping the poor, they came from giving to the church. That one line spread like wildfire online, with many people expressing outrage. After all, helping the less fortunate is one of the most basic teachings in many faiths. To hear a pastor suggest otherwise was deeply unsettling for many. For Shaunie, this situation wasn't just about public image, it was personal. She had spent years building herself up as a smart, business-savvy woman who avoided unnecessary drama. Being linked to a pastor now facing heavy criticism wasn't a good look, and she knew it. Shortly after the controversy exploded, Shaunie started making some major moves. She stepped even further away from Keion's church, stayed quiet about his sermons, and focused completely on her own businesses. It was becoming clear she was distancing herself from the storm. And unfortunately, money wasn't the only problem. A much bigger betrayal was waiting in the shadows. Whispers about Keion's personal life started gaining momentum. At first, it sounded like typical rumors: late-night meetings, disappearing acts, questionable friendships. But as more details emerged, it became harder to ignore. Several sources started coming forward with claims that Keion wasn't being faithful. There were allegations of secret relationships, inappropriate conversations, and behavior that didn't exactly match up with the image of a faithful husband and spiritual leader. And then came the biggest shock, yet a leaked recording. In the recording, Shaunie could reportedly be heard venting about a betrayal that shattered her trust beyond repair. Though the full details weren't clear, the emotional weight of her words spoke volumes.
I think it was part of me not wanting to be hurt again, not go through a relationship that might not work, and just being that person that did come out of a marriage and divorced and it wasn't pretty. I was like, I never want to even put myself in a situation where that could possibly happen again.
Shortly after, Shaunie posted a cryptic message on Instagram: "When trust is broken, everything falls apart." She didn't mention any names, but everyone who had been paying attention could read between the lines. It was clear she was done. When you break someone's trust, it's almost impossible to fix. For Shaunie, it wasn't just about public embarrassment or scandal. It was personal pain, the kind you can't easily forgive or forget. Those close to her say this wasn't a sudden decision. Shaunie had been preparing for months. While the public still saw smiles and date nights on social media, behind the scenes, she was setting herself up for a clean break. She had quietly withdrawn from Keion's world, refocused her energy on her own companies, and made sure that when she left, she did so standing strong on her own 2 feet. Now, with the divorce official, Shaunie isn't wasting any time looking back. She's throwing herself into her career with full force. Her production company is thriving. Her businesses are growing. And her influence in the entertainment world is stronger than ever. Shaunie is showing everyone that she doesn't need a man by her side to win. She's building her empire even bigger, proving once again that she is her own best asset. Meanwhile, Keion's situation looks very different. His ministry is now under a microscope. Members who once had complete faith in him are starting to question his leadership. Financial experts are digging deeper into the church's fundraising activities. What used to be loyal followers are now skeptical critics. And it's not just about the money. The allegations about Keion's personal life, the whispers about his behavior, the rumored betrayals have combined with the financial scandals to create a storm that's almost impossible to escape. Keion is now in full damage control mode, trying to repair his image and hold onto whatever support he still has. But many wonder if it's too late. When trust is broken, whether with your spouse or your congregation, rebuilding is never easy. As for Shaunie, she's not just surviving, she's thriving. She's proof that even when life falls apart, you can come back stronger, smarter, and more powerful than ever. But is this truly the end of the story? Or is there still more we don't know? Was Shaunie's exit only about protecting her brand? Or did she walk away from something even darker than we realize? Did she recognize the warning signs before the rest of us caught on? Or was this just a case of a perfect-looking love story collapsing under the weight of real life? One thing's for sure, Shaunie made the right call. She chose herself. And in a world where so many people stay stuck in toxic situations, that's not just powerful, it's inspiring. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Shaunie made the right move by leaving? Was this all about money? Or was there something even bigger happening behind closed doors? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because something tells me this story isn't quite finished yet.